Previously on Laymans Journal Live. So let's move on to this next topic here. We're going to talk about this issue with Mahershala Ali calling out Marvel for not making Blade. He said he says you had me under contract. They had billions of dollars. If they wanted to do it, they would have done it. And so I'm going to play this article in Variety magazine.
Here's the article from Variety, read word for word. The headline is, Mahershala Ali calls out Marvel for not making Blade. You had me under contract. They have billions of dollars. If they wanted to do it, we would have done it. By Jordan Moreau. Published July 31st, 2026, 9:07 a.m. PT. As most Marvel fans know by now, Mahershala Ali was announced to star in a Blade movie during a flashy, surprise Comic-Con appearance in 2019, but the movie didn't get made. The two-time Oscar winner never appeared in live action as the popular vampire-hunting anti-hero, despite Marvel Studios hiring director Bassam Tariq and later Yann Demange to helm the film. Now, after production stalled out, Ali and Tariq have teamed up in the wake of the failed Marvel movie to make this fall's Amazon MGM action film, Your Mother, Your Mother, Your Mother. If the actor and director hadn't been brought together for Blade, their new movie wouldn't have been made. When I look at this in Blade, I couldn't have done both, and the reason this even exists is because that project fell apart, and Bassam had the time, space, energy, and focus to go and write this and then reapproach me, Ali told GQ. And I was able to use those skills that I had been working on for over a year training for Blade. In that way, I feel creatively redeemed on some level, just in my own journey between me, myself, and I. Marvel Studios chief Kevin Feige, who announced Ali's casting as Blade at Comic-Con 7 years ago, recently spoke openly about his personal disappointment at the movie not getting made. I am feeling like a gigantic loser and failure that we didn't get off the ground with Mahershala, Feige said on the Happy Sad Confused podcast last week. We didn't want to simply just put a leather outfit on him and have him start killing vampires. It had to be unique. It fell into the time when we started pulling back and saying, only accept insanely great. And it wasn't insanely great at the time. We didn't feel like, as we often do, you can have a good script and make it a great script through production. We didn't feel confident that we could do that on Blade, and we didn't want to do that to Mahershala and didn't want to do that to us. Ultimately, Ali is happy that he's starring in Your Mother, Your Mother, Your Mother instead of Blade. When I look at what is for me, it was either this or that, and I'll take this, no offense to them. I've been doing this professionally for pushing 30 years now, and one thing I've learned is that what is for you is for you, and what is not is not. For whatever reason, that project is not for me. If they wanted to do it, we would have done it. So I have to move on, and I have moved on, he said. Again, you had me under contract. They have billions of dollars. If they wanted to do the movie, we would have done the movie. So we're not doing the movie. Last week at San Diego Comic-Con, Feige announced a Ghost Rider movie starring Ryan Gosling and Black Panther 3 starring David Johnson as the new hero.
All right. And those are the words of Mahershala Ali regarding Kevin Feige and the MCU. Okay. And it is BS. It is BS. Having Blade and leather killing vampires is what we want. You don't have to do more than that. It's not complicated. It's a vampire movie. It's Blade. That's what we pay the $20 to go see. They dropped the ball. 7 years and you couldn't make a Blade movie? You're an idiot. But there's a reason why. They did make a Blade movie. They didn't make the movie. For those who don't know, they wrote a script, they had a director, and they were filming or getting ready to film. The reason why they didn't make the movie is because Mahershala said it was garbage. And it was garbage. He was right. The Blade that they were going to make, it was going to be a DEI film about Blade's daughter. The film was going to be about Blade's daughter and her friends becoming vampire slayers. And Blade was simply there to kind of guide them on their journey to be vampire slayers. and there was very little action in the film. And so Blade was going to be reduced to a sideline character in the movie. And in the end, he was supposed to die, and his daughter was supposed to take up the mantle as Blade. So it was going to be a girl boss movie. And Mahershala, when he saw the script, said absolutely the F not. That's what happened. He was disgusted by the script. And so they brought in new directors, they brought in new writers, but that's what Marvel wanted to do. And you have to understand, this movie was greenlit in 2019 when we were at the height of the whole DEI MCU era, when it was the MSHU, when it was all about promoting women over men. And so that was the Blade movie they were going to make. And Mahershala balked at it. He didn't want to make another girl power film. You hired me to be Blade, let me be Blade. I don't want to be, Daddy Blade that passes on the mantle to the daughter. That's what they were going to do. And because he didn't want to do that film, they didn't make it. That's why they didn't make Blade. They wanted Mahershala to be a beta male in his own film. And they were going to make the daughter. It was kind of like, have you ever seen what was it? The Way Hawkeye was. The Way Hawkeye was about Kate Bishop. The way, what was that movie with Jonathan Majors? Ant-Man and Wasp. What was it called? Quantum Mania. And in Quantum Mania, you see where the Ant-Man's daughter kind of overtakes him in prominence. That's how they were going to do it. It was going to be like Ant-Man and the Wasp. It was going to be like Kate Bishop and Hawkeye. It was about the girls taking over. Because what they were ultimately trying to do is have a young Avengers team or a young lady Avengers team. And it was going to be Blade's daughter. It was going to be Stinger, which was Ant-Man's daughter. It was going to be Kate Bishop. It was going to be Miss Marvel. And that's what they were gunning for. But Mahershala wanted no part of that, and they scrapped the project and never tried again. She-Blade, exactly. That's what they were trying to do. But the cancellation of Blade was announced right after, what was it? That article came out right after news broke of Wonder Man being canceled. So it started this conversation online about whether or not Marvel has a problem with black people, specifically black men. And you see here it says Blade canceled, Wonder Man canceled, Monica Rambeau is missing in action, Ironheart barely marketed. I hate this argument about marketing. Armor Wars is gone, not happening. Captain 4 was sabotaged by the studio. Sam is sidelined for Steve in Doomsday. This is not a coincidence. Now, let me keep going. Someone had, hey, Marv, I got a question. Y'all clan, this is the scene from Sinners, which is an excellent movie, by the way. Great movie, the best movie of 2025. I might watch it again shortly. Love this film. I've already seen it 3 or 4 times. 5th won't hurt. Anyway, getting back to it. Here's another meme. All have black leads is the MCU racist. MCU projects that have been scrapped. Blade, Avengers Kang Dynasty, Wonder Man Season 2. And here they are right here. Armor Wars, Wonder Man, Avengers, and Blade. Okay. Here's another one, Season 2 canceled. She was supposed to have a series, I didn't know. And there it is, Ironheart, whatever. Okay. Then someone responded, they cancel what no one watches, try to be honest. And so here you have Loki. They got 2 seasons, 5.23 billion views. Falcon and Winter Soldier, 4.15 billion views. That was only going to be one season. That was just supposed to be a one-off. Ironheart, 3.44 billion. Now, this is significant. Ironheart was canceled. Okay. And I'm going to jump ahead of myself. Ironheart was ass. That was a terrible freaking show. I watched every episode and did a review of it. Two videos on it. It was terrible, 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 terrible. Okay? And even still, Hawkeye did worse. Then Agatha All Along, oh my God. I did a review of that because I needed content for the channel. That show was unwatchable. Absolutely unwatchable. The whole time I was looking at it, why is Agatha Harkness getting a show? She's not that important. But still, it got 2 billion views. 2 billion views. Echo was an absolute joke. I did a video. That show was so freaking bad. I don't think I finished it. No, I didn't finish it. That show was horrendous. Okay, now, Wonder Man did worse than all of these. It did worse than Hawkeye, Ironheart, Agatha All Along, and Echo. Okay. That's why they're canceled. Now, if you want to make an argument that Blade has that Marvel has a problem with black characters because of Blade, I understand that. But when you throw in Wonder Man and Ironheart, you lost me, because those were just bad shows. Those were just bad. Armor Wars. Nobody asked for Armor Wars. I saw Captain America 4 as well. Horrendously awful. Just awful. And I'm glad that they're getting Sam out of the way and bringing Steve back, because it just wasn't good. You know, and I think, and don't get me wrong, I don't have a problem with the Falcon, but I think they handled the character terribly. I don't think Anthony Mackie is a good fit for that role. No offense to Anthony Mackie, but he's not built like a superhero. He's not built like a superhero. And he's not a strong actor for that role. He's a terrible casting. And the fact that they chose not to give him superhero serum was dumb. And so I don't blame the character. I blame the writers for that. Captain America 4 could have been something special, but Marvel made it terrible. And this whole thing about Ironheart was barely marketed. The reason why Ironheart wasn't marketed is because Marvel knew it was dog shit. I went to go see Black Panther: Wakanda Forever in theaters the day that it came out. And the most annoying character in that show was Riri Williams as Ironheart. She was so bad. She reminded me of Jar Jar Binks. You had this serious movie in Wakanda Forever, and then you had this comedy relief who had all these stupid one-punch lines. That let me tell you how bad it was. When they make movies, they have focus groups, they have test audiences to watch the movie, and all of the opinions regarding Riri Williams as Ironheart and that stupid Go-Go Bot suit she came out in was so negative that they scrapped the show. Ironheart was supposed to come out in the winter of 2022. It was supposed to come out right after Wakanda Forever. That's why she was featured in the movie. Wakanda Forever came out in November of 2022. Ironheart was supposed to come out in December of 22 or January of 23. But she was so freaking bad, they pushed it back 2 years. That's why. And so Marvel pushed it back 2 years because they wanted you to forget about her. They wanted you to forget how freaking terrible she was. That's why they didn't market it, because they knew it was shit. And I watched every episode of that show, and I did 2 videos of that show, which are on my YouTube channel still. You can watch them. Thank you for posting the link to them, Darkroom Society. And you will see just how terrible they are. Just how terrible they are. She was. Those shows were. So if you want to make the argument that Marvel has a problem with black people, you might not want to bring up Ironheart. Exactly. This is how woke makes you go broke. In a sense, you don't want to bring up these ass shows. Okay? And see, here's the thing. As someone who's a big fan of Blade, I'm offended that you would mention Ironheart in the same breath as Blade. I'm offended by that. And learn the true history. They wanted to make Blade a simp in his own movie. That's why it didn't get made. Because Mahershala had too much respect for the character, for him to be some sideline character. That's why I can't get with that argument. But someone else said something that I thought was profound, and I'm going to play this video in its entirety.
Not Marvel Comics' responsibility to give us the representation that you want. I said this before. It's not DC Comics' responsibility to give you the representation that you desire. This isn't a video about anger. This is a reality check. I'm going to continue to watch Marvel movies, DC movies, and read their media, but I already understood a long time ago that I can't get everything that I desire from companies that were not built on everything that I like. I got tired of people saying to me, if you want black characters, to go make your own. So I decided to go make my own. If you want things done, you have to do it yourself. That's not just a saying, that's a fact. When writers and creatives in Japan wanted to break into mainstream media in the world of fiction, they didn't ask Marvel and DC or criticize them. They started anime, they made their own projects, their own mangas, and they took it by force. I love all of these characters behind me, but I learned a long time ago to stop asking the same people who canceled the project to bring them back in some other way or capacity. It's not going to happen. Criticizing Marvel for not doing the stories that you desire does absolutely nothing. Taking action and supporting companies like us, and there are several companies like us that already has the representation that you desire, and doing your part to build us up to that level is how you get the representation that you desire. We are trying to build that type of foundation that they're receiving the criticism for. And don't get me wrong, of course we have characters like these that look like us, but we have characters that have Filipino mythology, Mayan mythology, indigenous mythology. We have characters that are Italian, Irish American. We have different types of people and represent a bunch of different groups. But the foundation that we're built on is not the foundation that Marvel was built on or the foundation that DC Comics was built on. And again, it's not their responsibility. I'm still going to enjoy their content. I enjoy all types of media. But complaining and criticizing them is not going to help the bigger picture. Support Impound Comics, support other companies like Impound Comics, and that's how the power gets put into our hands, where our type of stories do not get canceled on a regular basis like they always have. Comment what you think below, and don't forget to check out the Impound Universe on impoundcomics.com.
That's impoundcomics.com. And here is his Facebook page if you want to support. If you would boot up, impoundcomics.com. I love what he's saying. I absolutely love what he's saying. Listen, they're not going to give us what we want. And we should stop expecting them to give us what we want. They're going to continue putting raisins in the potato salad. Okay? So it's time we make our own potato salad. And we have alternatives. We have alternatives. Like this brother here, he's doing the work. Go support him. Go check out his comics. Sorry about that, but I like what he's saying, and I love the illustration he used, or the example that he used of Japan and anime. And he's right. There was no Asian representation in American comics in the 1950s, 60s, and 70s. Did the Japanese complain? No. What they did is they made anime. And anime is curb stomping them right now. Anime is killing the industry. Now, Spider-Man did well, but here's something people need to know. Marvel and DC comics are very popular with the boomer generation. They're very popular with Generation X. But once you get into the millennials and zennials, American comics, Spider-Man, Batman, Marvel, DC are not very popular. And when you get to Gen Z and Gen Alpha, Marvel Comics is non-existent. Young people are into anime. And that's the brilliance of Japan, that they have completely taken over the American market with the youth. People, yeah. I grew up, I saw some things on TV, but I fell in love with anime when I saw Dragon Ball Z in the mid-90s. And I said, this was it. This is it. F Superman. Give me some more Goku. That's what I was into coming up as a teenager. And like I said, when I talk to my nieces and nephews, you start talking about Superman and Batman, and they look at you like, man, we don't want to hear about that corny shit. Let's talk about Eren Yeager. Let's talk about some of these anime characters. I'm not trying to hear about that. I want to hear more about Gojo. I want to hear about Hideko Midoriya. I want to hear about Bakugo. Let's talk about Nezuko from Demon Slayer. They're not trying to hear anything about Marvel and DC comics. They want to talk about anime. And oh my God, do not mention the word solo and leveling around a Gen Zer. That show has completely taken over. Okay? That's what they're into. And again, that speaks to the brilliance of Japan, where they say, hey, look, these white guys over in America are not going to tell our stories. We will tell our stories. And Japan's kicking their ass right now. Spider-Man did great. But if you look at comic book sales, the top 20 are all manga. The top 20 are all manga. All right? And when it comes to the younger generations, it's all about manga and anime. They don't care about that. And that's what we have to do. We have to do the same thing. The reason why those shows failed is because we didn't like them. As a black people, we didn't like Wonder Man. We didn't like Ironheart. Okay? There are 50 million black people living in this country. I would say if half of us watched Wonder Man, it would have gotten a second season. That would have been enough to keep the show going. Just half of us. But we didn't like it. And we can call Marvel racist all we want, and we can do that. But at the end of the day, we didn't watch Wonder Man. We didn't watch Ironheart. I watched it because I needed material. But it was terrible. That's just what it is. Now, if you want to make the argument about what happened with Mahershala Ali, absolutely. I think Mahershala Ali's story has more to do with black masculinity. The fact that they didn't like the idea of a black man being in a strong leadership role and were replacing him with a black woman. You want to have that discussion? Let's have it, because I believe that's true. They tried to make him a backbencher character in his own movie, and that was some BS. That's what the discussion should be. About how they tried to reduce his own role in his own movie. But yeah, Marvel racist against black men? No. Do they have some anti-black male misandry? Absolutely. Absolutely. That's where the issue is. You can even go back to Black Panther and you see it. This man was a king, yet you still had him, submitting to his mother. You still had him in a non-dominant role. And then you look at Wakanda Forever, how they didn't recast T'Challa, but put his sister in that role. So if you want to have that discussion about anti-black male misandry, yeah, Marvel has that. That's their issue. Because, they don't have an issue with black women. They have an issue with black men in leadership. And don't get me started on, and that's another thing. Don't get me started on this, what is it? On Ironheart. Can we talk about Ironheart? How every black man in that show was a buffoon. And then you had a punk in that movie, in that show. Let's talk about Ironheart. Remember that at the end, she had a choice of who she was going to bring back. And she chose to bring back her best friend and not her father. The lone black man in that show that was strong was her dad, and he was dead. And she chose her friend over her father. That pissed me off. And what about that goofball that was in love with her, who she put in the friend zone? That's why I didn't like Ironheart. Every black man on that show was a chump. And you want me to stomp the yard for that? You want me to boycott Marvel over Ironheart? A show that made black men look stupid? You out of your mind. You're out of your mind. But yeah, go support Inbound Comics and any other black comic book creator out there. If you want it done right, then you have to support the people that are doing it for us. And again, I agree. I also agree with another thing you said. I don't think we have to boycott Marvel or DC. You can enjoy all the entertainment media that you want. But if you're going to support Marvel, if you're going to support DC, support him too. Support him too.
Now streaming on Patreon.
Layman's Journal Chapter 285. I'm going to start this video with an excerpt from a content creator named Marina McBain. And she's going to talk about how the most romantic movies, the movies that women seem to all love, are about cheating.
I genuinely think that Hollywood wants me to cheat on my future husband. And I'm not being dramatic. Because according to nearly every romance movie ever, if my toxic ex-boyfriend shows up in the rain looking mildly regretful, apparently I'm supposed to throw my entire life away and run into his arms. And I grew up thinking that was peak romance, okay? 16-year-old me watched those scenes and thought, yes, that is what true love looks like. Messy, desperate, and completely willing to destroy anyone who gets in the way. If someone leaves their fiance at the altar just because their real love walked back into town, that is not betrayal, that is epic. Because now all I could think about was how almost every single iconic love story involves some type of cheating. And that's not an exaggeration. The Notebook, cheating. The Office, cheating. Titanic, cheating. Cheating, 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 cheating.
Yes, and I think she's correct. Hollywood has romanticized women finding true love through cheating. And the thing that's so significant about the men these women choose to cheat on is they aren't villains. They aren't abusive, unattractive, negligent, or philanderous. They're just not as fun or romantic as the guys they cheat with. In other words, they're the safe choice, the practical choice. They're stable, responsible men with ambition who would make for great husbands in the real world. The problem is, they're boring. They don't have the swag or charisma, the spontaneity or romance the cheating women are looking for. And once the cheating woman decides to leave her boring, stable husband or boyfriend for the charismatic guy, the movie ends, and it gives you the impression that they have a happily ever after. As we in the audience are led to believe, they go on to live the perfect life, filled with constant joy and romance, where every day is a day their love grows stronger, that they never fight or struggle in their relationship. But more importantly, the woman is never bored. But those of us who live in the real world know that's not true. Those fun guys often make for terrible husbands. And those adrenaline-driven, love-drunk women will eventually get tired of the fun guy and will be regretful of the choice they made. And the film Blue Valentine is a classic example of that. On the surface, it's the story about a young college student, a pre-med major named Cindy, who dumps her college sweetheart in favor of a young, handsome, bohemian high school dropout named Dean. And in the beginning, their relationship is one of those Hollywood whirlwind romances that are often celebrated in entertainment media. But as the film goes on, you'll see that all that glitters ain't gold.
You've just seen a preview of my latest video, which you can watch now in its entirety, uncensored and without obstruction, exclusively on Patreon. Again, that's patreon.com/Laymans Journal. Hope to see you there. I'm out.